Hello and welcome to the Turn 4 podcast. I am your host, Dan Maldonado. This your first time listening? Welcome. If you're a regular listener, welcome back. This podcast comes from two lifelong fans of IndyCar and motorsports. We are not insiders. Before we get started, let me introduce you to my co-host, Tim Reiner. Hey, Timmy.
Hello, Dan.
How you doing?
So good. How are you today?
Yes, you are. I'm doing great.
This is late for us.
I know it is. But it's okay. You know, it's later, longer, right? It's like lighter, longer.
It's lighter, long. It's the sun's sort of still out over there.
Yeah.
But I did have to bring the lamp out just in case we did go into the evening hours, so that way I had some light in here
as well.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get into this, you had an exciting week. What did you got to drive a BMW? What M4?
M4? Yeah, I think that's what it was. I drove a whole bunch of BMWs, all the BMW lineup they had out there, and we.
You were where?
We were at the BMW Performance Driving School in Palm Springs, California. We were out there, and we got to spend a half a day in the vehicles driving different courses. One being the lead follow, which the lead follow, you have a instructor. It's interesting, Dan. Let me back up a little bit. So you go to the park there, and they have these instructors, right? And all these instructors are former race car drivers. They're all professional drivers. And to hear them talk and give the intro about what you're going to do, talking about apexes, entry, exit, what you should be doing, it seemed all common sense to me based on, how much we watch racing and all that. But I did learn a few things and put those to use on the track. But I'll tell you what, we were there. We had a great time. We were right there on the campus. But then we also went next door, and next door to them is the Thermal Club. And the Thermal Club is, if you will, a country club for those that want to race cars.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So they rent out part of that track or use part of that track, which is beautiful. It is Formula One-esque, and I'm not exaggerating here. And we took the vehicles out and we're able to open them up as fast as you could go in a lead follow situation behind a professional driver. And we were moving. It was a great thing. But the Thermal Club, let me talk a little bit about that. You can buy a house in the Thermal Club or buy a piece of property there because it's being built as we speak. And you then build your dream home right there. And the dream home goes right up against the wall, and your garage door opens and you're on the track.
Oh, very cool.
And one of the stories in the shuttle bus, if you want to call it that, as we were going to the track, was that someone has built a place that has a 27 car garage that opens up to the track. But
more money than brains.
Yeah. Any listener that has a chance to go to the BMW Performance Driving School, go check it out. It's amazing. Even if you don't own a BMW, you're going to want one afterwards. And man, the car's handled amazing. So we did the lead follow on the track, and they do drag racing, which is kind of cool because it's not just go until you hit the finish line. It's go, hairpin turn, come back, stop in a box. When there's a short track that we were on, you can do a ride along with a professional driver, and they do all the drifting. And then there's a skid pad that I did not do. So that would have been something to do, but it was beautiful and a great time.
When you were riding along with the instructor, did you tell him no more radio?
No, I did awesome, not. I should have.
Because I would have.
I should have. But
well, that sounds fun. I think they're building one of these at IMS.
I think you're right. That was the plan, right? So if they do,
I think so, yeah.
Man, they should have a lot of people going through there from Indianapolis and around the world.
And we have one here, right? In Metro Detroit. Didn't Bill from Shelby tell us like the M1 course or something?
We have the M1 concourse, which is similar to the Thermal Club, where people have their homes or condos. I think it's more like a condominium kind of community there, where they have garages underneath and you can go do the course. But that's right in Pontiac, Michigan, which is not far from where I reside.
Do you have to have your own hot rod to go out there, or is there a school out there?
I'm sure they do some events and some schooling. I've not looked into it.
Let's do an on location Turn 4 podcast. We'll get the equipment out there and we could.
Dan, they did the Detroit auto show, if you will, at one time during COVID out there. They had all the manufacturers out there, and a lot of people went, and I ended up not making it out there, but people say it's beautiful. The course is really nice. But where I was, it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Well, you got a chance.
And I got my badge to prove it. So if anybody thinks I'm joking, I got my badge.
I love it. Good job, Timmy.
All right.
So before we get into it, we're going to start with some Formula One because Miami was yesterday. I want to give a shout out to Vicky Lynn 26 for making me aware of the fact that I duplicated the show last week. So
yeah, thank you, Vicky Lynn. We appreciate that.
And the production staff, we just got a little confused. So there's multiple save files in the shared folder, Tim.
Yeah. So get this.
Since the media staff was at the retreat
traveling,
so wouldn't have seen it. Normally I don't check in on the media staff. I don't look in on our Twitter. So on the thanks
for sending that out. I get a text message from Dan going, whoops. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, the wrong show's up. I'm like, what do you mean the wrong show's up? So thanks, Vicky.
Yep. Thank you for that. Hey, Formula One, Timmy, you were home. You watched, you got a chance to watch the race?
I did. I watched P1 qualification and the race. And the reason I watched it all is because I've got someone in the house that keeps pulling me in to watch all these things. So I'm there.
There you go.
I'm game. What about you?
I did watch it. I got a chance to catch up with it a little bit later on in the evening because we were hosting here for Mother's Day. Shout out to the moms. But the crowd and the atmosphere certainly looked amazing. I think it lived up to a lot of that hype. Obviously, the most thought was around the makeshift harbor, right, where they had those boats or those yachts docked and in that painted sort of scene to make it look like it was in a harbor. I thought that was just a level of cheesiness it didn't need. They could have done that beach club atmosphere kind of thing and just kept it at that. I don't think they needed to put those boats in there, but otherwise
they could have flown the helicopter over Miami Beach and shown the real beach while they were there.
Right. The racing wasn't bad, and I'll say that because again, I watched it late on Sunday, and before I turned on the DVR to watch it, I started scrolling through Twitter, and I saw a couple of comments about it that were not too complimentary about the racing in Miami. So I didn't want to scroll too much more because I didn't obviously want to see who the winner was, and I didn't want too much in the way of spoilers. But I guess I turned it on and I was expecting this race to really be a drag. I mean, it wasn't, like I said, these comments weren't great, but I guess that's what I get for going to Twitter for all this. But I didn't think it was a bad race, Tim. I really didn't. I also, it wasn't the most exciting race I've ever seen.
Yeah, it wasn't the most exciting by any means, but it wasn't
for a first effort, right? At a track. They do sims, I'm sure they understand what they're kind of up against, but until you actually get the cars out there and you have the weather patterns and you've got concrete or the asphalt that you really can't, simulate, I don't think you really know what you did. And I think it was fine. Thank God for the safety car, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
I really did.
Thank the good Lord for that one. For sure. Correct me if I'm wrong though, Dan, but I think, I thought the place looked amazing.
It did.
For paving a parking lot.
Yes.
Putting a race on in a parking lot, it did not resemble a parking lot at all. No. The track surface was beautiful.
Yep.
However, I think they were repaving.
They were.
The corners where they had the darker asphalt down there. So it was coming apart a little bit, but they didn't really talk about that at all. It just kind of was like, if you notice, you notice. If you didn't, it was never discussed.
I watched all of the practice, all the practice sessions as well as qualifying. They talked about it, they showed it.
What network was P2
ESPN.
and P3? Okay, my DVR did not pick them up.
Yeah, I watched them all.
Yeah, we tuned in on Friday was the first practice. We tuned in because I wanted to see what it looked like initially.
Yeah. They were just late in the day. Relatively speaking, right? Because we're used to the, the European telecast and all that, but or the European times, I suppose. So
so I thought I thought the track, and they did a great job. It was a huge event, whatever.
Yeah, it looked like a permanent course.
It totally
I mean, it was
did.
very, very well done.
Did.
Very expensive. It looked right. It looked very,
yeah.
very well done.
They did not spare any expense to make it look magnificent.
Yeah, it really did look great.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
congratulations to Max and the Red Bull team on another victory. When he finishes first. So good for him. If the team has a handle on reliability, then I think, they're unstoppable. But I don't quite, reliability is still questionable because Perez had a reliability issue with the engine toward the back half of this race, and that was preventing him from really taking the race to Carlos Sainz.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but this changes. Your opinion has changed on Red Bull since the start of the season. Your opinion, and I'm not trying to argue, I'm just stating facts, was that Ferrari had it. Ferrari had the package. They were the dominant team. And that was your stance. And I remember thinking, if Red Bull gets their reliability down, they're going to be the unstoppable team.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Or am I?
No, you're right. I still hold firm that Ferrari has still the upper hand on this because their development has not been at the pace that a Mercedes or a Red Bull has been. And Mercedes is just burning cash, it seems like. But that the pace that Red Bull has, I don't think Red Bull's reliability is there yet. I mean, like I said, Perez had another engine issue, so we'll see what happens there. Ferrari's engine is bulletproof, it seems like. And here's why I feel affirmed in what I was saying, right? That I can affirm what I was saying about Ferrari. Charles Leclerc threw away a good finish at Imola a couple weeks ago. He could have done the same thing yesterday by being aggressive over those curbs and in those S's and on a track that really, wasn't great for grip. Okay. It was very hot, kept it together, took all the points that were available to him, and they'll be ready to regroup for Barcelona.
Mm-hmm. It's one race. It's one event, but
right. But it speaks to what the issue was, right? You have a young driver, somebody's very hungry in a really good car. He could overdrive the thing and put it right into the wall and miss out on the opportunity like he did at Imola, which I think he learned from, and he demonstrated that yesterday. They've got a great car. They've got a tremendous engine. If Red Bull gets their act together, yes. Very, very good. Unstoppable? No. I think it's going to be Red Bull, Ferrari all season long.
Well, when Ferrari locks out the front row, you would hope one of those drivers brings home the win, right?
Yeah.
And somehow Verstappen drives through both of them, one on the start, the other one in the first 7-8 laps of the race, if you will. And then pretty much untouchable from there until
after the safety car.
Yeah, until you get the safety car. And then, it's a dogfight for 4 laps, 5 laps, whatever it was, which was super exciting. But in between the pass for the lead and the dogfight at the end, I think it was pretty much a follow the leader kind of thing. And there was some passing mid-pack, but it wasn't super exciting racing.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. You're right. I am looking forward to it. I root for good racing in Formula One. I like the Red Bull team. I like I like Ferrari. I like, so I enjoy it. I'm
like them all.
To a good season. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else stand out to you?
Yeah, I think Mercedes' performance on race day was really good. George Russell played the pit strategy perfectly well to get the 5th place finish. After he had a dismal qualification, right? They were 12th, so they didn't do so hot on that. And Lewis finished where he started, so that was pretty good. So
So Mercedes was really, really good in practice, and somehow that practice speed, which I always tell you practice is anyway, somehow that practice speed didn't translate to qualifications. So something went south there. The other thing is, I want to
Lewis almost didn't get out of Q1.
Correct.
Yep.
I want to underscore what you said about George Russell, though. They were calling George in, and George said, "Can we just stay out in case there's a safety car or a VSC?" And he got it.
He got it.
He got it, and he needed it. So it was really good that Mercedes listened to him, right? Young guy, young driver, first time or first season with that team, and they listened to him and let it work it out, and they got a nice payback for that. So good for them.
Did.
Yeah,
sure did. Stayed out a long time, and then if you look at Mick Schumacher, he threw away a points-paying finish.
Yes,
that is by running into Vettel, right? That is so disheartening.
Yeah.
And do you believe it or not, that would have been his first points-paying position ever in F1?
I do. Yeah. Well, because remember they were nowhere to be found last year.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was really surprised by that.
To come of all people to come together with Sebastian Vettel, which is a drag, and for him to throw away that finish, young driver, right? Trying to overdrive the car as opposed to stay within yourself. Don't do anything dumb.
Yeah. And then lastly, I have Errol McLaren. Totally lost on race day setup. Just McLaren there? No Arrow?
Nope.
All right. Sorry. This is an IndyCar podcast. The notes say just McLaren, but I threw an arrow. But they were just terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible on the race day. They just didn't have it.
Yeah. And this crazy crash with Gasly where he tagged Lando's rear or something, and the tire came off.
Yeah.
How bizarre. It was just a weird crash. It was
like shucking corn. It just came right off.
Yeah, it was so amazing. Weird. So weird.
Yeah.
Somebody must have had corn on the cob yesterday.
Did you?
Well, we did. Did you?
No.
I don't shuck corn.
No, I've been a little under the weather, so
no, you didn't.
We didn't do a whole lot.
Low key yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. It was we had spaghetti.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah, great Mother's Day.
Hey, before we move completely to this coming weekend at IMS, got a couple other things I want to talk about. And first, because we're an IndyCar Forward podcast, Michael Andretti is one of the biggest names in IndyCar, so it certainly is something that I always keep an eye on. Did you see Michael in Miami? He was essentially going door to door, asking for teams to support his entry into Formula One. I'll tell you what, I like Michael Andretti. We watched him race, right? We've been watching IndyCar long enough. We watched him race. We saw a little bit of Mario, but we saw a lot of Michael. And for whatever anybody might think about Michael Andretti, watching him go door to door asking for support for his entry, that took him up in my book. Not that he was really down or I was not a fan or whatever. That took him up in my book, because that has got to be one of the most humbling experiences I can ever imagine somebody doing. Somebody like Michael Andretti doing. The man is a brand, right? He's a brand. He was born a brand.
He was selling his brand.
Yes. And he was knocking on doors.
I know.
In the Formula One paddock saying, pitching his case, right?
Yeah.
Almost like a job fair, right? Some guy with his resume walking around giving, the 4 or 5 bullets on why he's the perfect candidate. Michael was walking around doing exactly that. I thought that was amazing, and I give him all the credit in the world.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by it, and I guess I'll give him credit too, but I guess I wouldn't put it past him to do that, right? If he's got his mind set on something, and with what he's done in the industry thus far, like, he's going to make it happen.
I agree, but to do it this publicly.
Yeah, no, I get it. Right. Yeah.
Nathan Brown, our friend at the Indianapolis Star, had posted on Twitter what looked like support of 4 teams on the form that Michael was getting people to sign. And we believe that Red Bull was one of them. And in fact, Christian Horner was asked about it on the Sky Sports broadcast, and he said he was in favor of it, that he supported it. But yeah, I thought that was
that's good.
I really did.
They interview him every single race.
Yeah, he's always
during the race. He's like the team manager in broadcast. I don't know, in race broadcasting. I don't know what's going on there.
It does bounce from team to team, but he seems to get more than his fair share.
Oh, it does?
Yes. Yeah, because you get Gunther on there sometimes. You get Otmar Zafnauer from what is it? Alpine.
Maybe it is the best broadcast ever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I thought it was just Christian Horner.
Are we moving into that now? All
No,
right. So,
no.
all right. I got a lot to talk about with this. So someone on Twitter made a comment about the F1 broadcast production was better than the US IndyCar production. I'm going to agree with that, but I have to qualify my agreement here. Okay. Because I'm not saying that IndyCar is bad, but it's obviously the production value of the F1 broadcasts are high, meaning expensive. What I want to say is the current F1 broadcasts are not what they were when they were on NBC with Bob Varsha, Steve Matchett, David Hobbs, right? That studio situation where those guys were sitting in a studio in Connecticut and they were commentating on the race. Okay. This is a different deal. This is the Sky broadcast, simulcast, if you will, on ESPN, right? With no commercials.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that number one, that's there. Not even the side-by-side. This is no commercials. Okay. But that Sky broadcast goes to tens of millions of viewers across Europe and probably further, right? And in 2019, Sky signed this current deal for a reported £1 billion. Okay. Globally, the average number of viewers per race is more than 70 million people, 70 million viewers. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it only stands to reason that it is a better production. It's a more expensive production. In one single race, they get more viewers than IndyCar gets all season long, including the Indy 500. It stands to reason that it's a better production. It is a better production. My opinion, it is a better production. Am I saying that IndyCar's production is bad? Certainly not. Is it at that level of F1? Certainly is not.
Yeah. Dan, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think you're right on. You're 100% on this one. However, like
there can't be a however, dude, if you agree with me.
There is a however. I don't think they have storylines that IndyCar production brings. I don't think they bring in the local community and what's happening around the track and things of that sort. They're strictly focused on F1, which is fine. That's how they want to do it. But if you're in Miami and you're doing the Grand Prix of Miami, you're not showing South Beach. You didn't show any of the other activities that took place during the weekend while we're there. Like if it's an event, show that it's an event, not just a race.
Yeah.
And they fail to do that in that production. So I think IndyCar does a better job at doing that and bringing in the flavor in the local community and things of that sort. And for us who are here in the US and for others that are in Europe and they want to experience through Formula One, what it would be like to actually go, I think they could do a better job.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say this. Thank you for agreeing with me because your notes say you disagree. So I convinced you right here in the middle of the show. So thank you for that. The second thing is I'm glad they didn't show South Beach. I'm glad they didn't show Miami because they weren't in Miami. They were in Miami Gardens. They were where the Dolphins play, which is not in Miami.
I know.
And if you've been to Miami and you've been to South Beach, you know it's nowhere near where this parking lot was that they transformed into this Grand Prix of Miami Gardens.
Okay.
So
I think you got to show that though, because if you're going to that race, that's where you're staying.
The metro area, right? Yeah.
So I know some people that were down there the week before, and they said there were so many different activities that were happening on in Miami, downtown Miami, all the different activations that were going on that was really drawing those fans to South Beach. And then obviously they'd go to the track. I think there were shuttles going there and things of that sort. So that is part of the experience if you go there in person, and they didn't bring any of that. And I don't ever see that being brought in at any event that they go to. So that would be my only suggestion. Otherwise, of course, they got superior budget. Look at the track they put together. I know it wasn't the Sky Sports, but they have superior budget, and superior budget is going to bring a better product, if you will, or to the broadcast. So, but IndyCar, watch the Indy 500 and look at the broadcast. I think it's 10 times better than what you saw in F1.
That's one broadcast though. I mean, right? But it's the premier event, so you expect that broadcast to be the best one.
Yeah,
It's the longest one. It's the one that has the most. They have Dale Earnhardt
this
Jr.
the
They got
storylines,
Danica
right?
Patrick. They got Mike Tirico. They don't do that for, St. Petersburg. They don't, and that's a great race. They don't do that for Long Beach, and that's a great race. But it's like,
I don't think F1 does it for any of their events. Maybe Monaco.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying. AJ Foyt Racing debuted today, the livery for the Indy 500 entry of JR Hildebrand. We're moving on to the IndyCar portion of the show. It's a beautiful red, white, and blue livery for effort called Homes for Our Troops. It's a nonprofit that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes for severely injured post 9/11 veterans to enable them to rebuild their lives. And ABC Supply has committed to matching up to $1 million in donations made to HFOT between May 21st and May 30th. To date, this charity, HFOT, has built 330 homes for injured veterans. We'll include a link in the show notes for this charity if you want to get involved.
I have to say, it's very patriotic.
Did you see it? Car looks really good.
I just saw it not too long ago. Yeah, it does look good. And
a tremendous effort by them. I didn't realize this can't be something new that ABC Supply was doing. And, they were such a long supporter of AJ Foyt Racing. So it's really cool to see them get involved in the Indy 500 in this.
They're going to match, ABC is going to match $1 million in donations. That's awesome.
Yeah. Finally, it sounds that Alexander Rossi has confirmed to our friend Nathan Brown that he will have a new home next year. He's going to be taking his talents elsewhere for 2023. I'm fine with it. I really am. Not that anybody asked my opinion, but I am fine with it. And I'm fine with it if he is going to Errol Mclaren. What I am a little surprised by is that Honda would be letting him go, because not only has he been a Honda driver with Andretti since he came to IndyCar, but he also drove the Acura entries in the IMSA series in sports cars. So, and he did the Baja, right, in the Honda as well. So he's leaving the Honda family where he's been firmly entrenched for a long time, but a very solid pickup by Chevy.
Yeah. If that's truly what's going to happen, I think you're going to be able to find out a little more this weekend, though, right? Coming up.
Maybe. We got a little quote here, too, from Alexander Rossi, which I think is interesting. He says, I think IndyCar now has become such a game of minute details. Having a fast car is half the battle, but you've got to be in a place where you feel that small details are being looked at and adding up to give you the best opportunity every weekend. Again, from our friend Nathan Brown on Twitter. He's not taking a shot at Andretti, but he's just kind of calling out the obvious, right? And the obvious being, it's the margins that it feels like the Andretti team is just, that's where they're throwing away these races, these solid finishes.
So, Dan, are you surprised by him going to McLaren?
Yes. And I said it last week, I think, right? The last show where I said, the way they treated Hinch, right? The way they treated Oliver Askew, the way they've seemingly treated, not publicly, Felix Rosenquist, who I also think is on his way out, right? And I'm surprised by that. He certainly does not have a thin skin, and he doesn't seem to be somebody who needs to be coddled, at least just his media personality. But I think anybody in that position, and I think anybody that does that, wants to feel like they're part of the team or part of the family, so to speak, right? I mean, the guy drove everything for Honda. And I think he, had a nice career with everybody at Honda. Michael Andretti strikes me as somebody who has a tremendous amount of loyalty. Right? Somebody said this to me recently, right? Loyal to a fault. You'll take this thing right down because you're so loyal. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where Michael is, right? He hung on to Ryan Hunter-Reay as long as he did. He hung on to Rossi as long as he did. He brought Hinch back for a second round, right? I mean, so he might feel that way. I don't know how he's going to feel going off to McLaren. I don't know how he's going to feel going off to McLaren. And I don't know what he's going to be able to do to contribute to those cars or that car setup. I still don't understand what he could bring to that either.
Well, I have a screen grab from a Twitter feed where everybody was saying, I say everybody, right? I'm pulling everybody, Dan,
Everybody was saying it. A lot of
everybody was
people are
saying he
saying.
was going to Chip Ganassi. Everybody being, I think Chef Brian. I said I'm gonna take a screen grab of that so we can compare notes at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Is this done and over with? Is this the real deal?
I mean, I think nothing's done until it's signed, but
Yeah. Sounds like it's going that way.
it sounds like it's going that way. I don't think there's any room at Ganassi unless Jimmy Johnson pulls a surprise at the end here, or unless Scott Dixon pulls a surprise and decides to hang it up at the end of this season.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. And, Jimmy brought Carvana. So it's not like Chip had Carvana and decided to put Jimmy in it, right? Jimmy brought Carvana.
Yeah. And Andretti already confirmed, I'm switching on you here, but Andretti already confirmed that Kyle Kirkwood's going.
I think alluded to it. I don't think Andretti confirmed that, but I think that's the first domino that needed to fall. So when people started finding out, or more reasonable understanding of Rossi, Andretti and his partners knew that they were putting a quality person in that spot.
So then who's the hottest commodity? I know we're talking silly season here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rinus VeeKay.
And there was rumors he was going to Errol Mclaren too.
Yeah. In place of Felix.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Ed Carpenter was out last week saying that they were going to do everything they can to keep him. I don't know what that sponsorship. I think that sponsorship comes with Rinus. I think Jumbo Supermarkets is part of that package. That's a Dutch supermarket chain. That guy actually races, I think, in LMP2 or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then what is it? It's Sonos. You know that because it was at the show you and I were at in Orlando.
In Orlando? Sonos?
The sponsor for Rinus VeeKay. Sorry, it's blanking me.
Oh,
nonetheless, I think that comes with Rinus.
Okay.
So I don't know if he needs budget necessarily to go to Arrow, if that's where he's going. I don't think he does. I think he'll be a hired driver there, and maybe some of that money will get repurposed, within the team, and it'll just make that team that much more solid.
Yeah.
Hey, can I do a quick check-in on our championship picks? I wanted to do this last week, but I ran out of time.
Yeah, let's do it.
So top 5 in standings, in the actual standings, are Alex Palou, first place, Scott McLaughlin, second, Joseph Newgarden, third, Will Power in fourth, and Pato O'Ward in fifth. Get the Penske guys right in the middle, all three of them. Okay.
Can we do it by manufacturer?
Honda, Chevy.
Okay.
Yep. My picks. Herta, number 1. He's in 11th place. Grosjean, number 2. He's in 8th place. I have Alex Palou in third, and he's in first. I have Graham Rahal in fourth. So there's for all the people that think I'm a Graham Rahal hater, right? I have him in 4th place on the season championship. He's in 10th. And Dixon in 6th. So, I mean, the only one I'm even remotely close about is Alex Palou, right?
Yeah.
And that's confidence in that kid, because that's not a tremendous hangover from his championship year, right? To go from first to third, and he's in first now, which is just unbelievable.
Can we do manufacturer for you?
Sure. Honda.
That's what I wanted to hear. All right.
Tim's picks. Herta. We both agreed on that. He's in 11th, as I said. Joseph Newgarden, you had as your runner-up. He's in 3rd place, so good job there. Dixon, you have in 3rd. He's in 6th place. Alexander Rossi, you have in 4th place. He's in 13th. And you have Alex Palou in 5th place for your season championship, and he's in 1st, of course. You want to talk manufacturers there?
Sure, do manufacturers.
Honda, Chevy, Honda.
Wow. Interesting.
So Chevy getting their act together in drivability screwed everything up for you and I.
It must have, right? When I looked at the actual standings, you still have Palou leading it on the Honda side, but man, the Chevys are right there.
Yeah.
And then you're all Honda. I've got one Chevy in there being Newgarden. So yeah.
See, Honda's gonna have to have a better second half of the season. All right, let's get on to the feature discussion. The GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis. This is the first road course event. This kicks off the month of May at Indianapolis. Tim, did you realize that this race has been on the calendar since 2014?
No, I did not.
Did not. Do you know who has the most victories? You cheated.
I looked and read the notes further down, and then I realized it had to be that person. So
who is it?
I do know it's Will Power.
That's correct. Do you know who won the first race here?
I do not. And you want me to guess, right?
Sure. Just take a quick stab.
I don't know when. Scott Dixon.
Nope. Simon Pagenaud when he was at Sam Schmidt.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Pretty good. Last year's event saw Grosjean start on pole, and it was won by Rinus VeeKay, who started 7th. Grosjean finished 2nd, by the way. This was VeeKay's first ever win in IndyCar.
And his only, right?
Correct. This also continued a trend of 6 consecutive wins by Chevrolet.
Wow.
In the GMR Grand Prix. I find that interesting, given the drivability advantage that Honda has had up until this year.
Mm-hmm.
So something obviously, right, with the speedway portion of that course where it's top speed, maybe that's what's helping out some of these Chevrolet. Yeah,
potentially.
Might be. Tim, I don't mind this event as a kickoff for the month of May. Obviously, we talk about it, right? We've been fans of this sport for a long time. We remember when the month of May was truly the month of May, right? There was 40 some cars out there trying to qualify for the Indy 500.
And I remember Indianapolis only being used for the Indy 500, and that was it.
Right. Yeah. No Formula One, no motorcycles, no nothing.
No NASCAR.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a fan of the fall event, which I don't want to get too hung up on that. I just feel like if they're going to have 2 road course events at the Speedway, that I think they should be on 2 different road courses.
And last year that fell right after
Confederation.
Yeah, and last year that fell right after Nashville.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They left.
And ratings were way up for Nashville and went way down for the fall race.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I don't know why they don't change the track configuration for any of that. I don't know if it's tire or if it's manufacturer. I really don't.
Just turn them around. Go the other way.
Yeah, I think that's a problem.
I'm sure it's not
because of the tires. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not that easily done.
Yeah. But I'd like to see them do something. I'd like to see them change it, change it up and do something differently there. So my pick, my projected poll, I can't believe I'm going to do this. So my projected poll is Scott McLaughlin, which is not the part I can't believe, but I have to say something. And you're going to need to mute yourself because you're going to laugh at me. I wanted to pick Jack Harvey, right? And I'm not, because I think there is so much uncertainty with that Ray Hall Letterman program with qualifying. But I say this because Jack started 3rd last year with a different team, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
He finished 3rd last year. And if you remember, the fall trip to the Indy road course was Christian Lundgaard's debut in IndyCar. He qualified 4th.
Mm-hmm.
A Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan prepared car hadn't seen 4th place in a qualifying in quite some time before Christian did it. So I wanted to pick Jack. And because I wanted to pick Jack and I felt really strongly about it and I had all this dialogue going on in my head, I had to say it. But I am picking Scott McLaughlin officially.
Oh, he didn't like being even Steven last weekend. So I get it. I understand you.
Right.
Coming to your senses over there.
I know. Can I want to say, though, Jack will qualify in the top 5.
You can say it. It's not going to happen, but you can definitely say it.
It's terrible.
If he does, I'll be shocked. Totally shocked if he does that. Wow. So am I up?
Yes.
For who I'm going to projected poll winner is? I think it's Joseph Newgarden's going to take the poll.
Oh, I like it.
And I say that because number 1, Chevy, number 2, Penske, number 3, he's been pretty much on fire except for last weekend. And I think they're going to get that together and he's going to come through and get the pole. And he'll have a good race too.
There you go. Projected winner, I am going way out on a limb here and taking Will Power to make it 4 wins on the Indy road course. And I'm going for a Penske throwdown here to start out the month of May, going right into the 500
Wow.
with Penske just tearing it up. Who you got?
Last week I had Pato on the pole and didn't pick him to win. So this week I'm going to pick him to win. I think Arrow's going to come through here. They're going to qualify well. They've got the right power plant in my mind, and they are riding the wave, and they're going to ride it right into the Indy GP.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Should be good.
Stories to watch. I picked 4 things. Grosjean Rahal round 2. Will Rahal seek vengeance for the hip checks at Barber? This is his last chance.
This reminds me of the old days. I kind of like this.
It is. I don't know that he will, but you know
I don't think he
Many
will.
people are saying that Roman's dangerous.
But it's bound to happen. They're going to find each other on the track.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the way the dominoes fall. Once you have a little spat, that next thing you know, they're battling each other all season long.
Well, we know they won't qualify near each other because Roman will qualify in the top 10 and Prem will be like 15th or 16th. Did I say that out loud?
But his teammate's going to be top 5. So Graham's going to have an off weekend and Jack's going to be there. Yeah. I think something will happen.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, there'll be some type of contact, but and whoever initiates it probably be handed a penalty, and then there'll be a big thing about why is there a penalty for this and not a penalty for that.
Yeah.
But as we spoke with one of the stewards at one time on the show, right? And they try to stay out of it and be in the back.
Yep. Now that Rossi's leaving, Andretti
allegedly,
right? Yeah,
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Does that relieve some pressure and maybe help him see some solid finishes?
Oh yeah.
Like, I got nothing to lose here.
You're asking me, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be helpful. And but if you're missing out on the little things that get you to the good results, then maybe not. But from a driver standpoint, you just kind of let it all hang out. Now that you're, kind of have your mind in a different area for where you're going to be next year. And you just do the best you can for your sponsor and your team. And you don't let the little stuff worry you. So I think that'll be a load off of Rossi's shoulders. And I think, he'll be able to do some solid finishes and maybe pull out a win or two. You never know.
Yeah. VK admitted that he wasn't as aggressive at Barber. Do you think VK could learn from that, win 2 in a row on this road course?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. He got passed after pit stop strategies and things of that sort.
Said he forgot to use to push the pass and he wasn't being aggressive enough.
You gotta seize the moment when you need to seize it, and if you don't, someone's going to take it from you, and that's what happened last week.
Finished third, right? Owned that race, and then
they owned it.
Yeah.
So he definitely could. He came from 7th last year to win it.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
Yeah. And finally, I'm going to be on site. I'm going to be.
That's there. Right. You're going on site. Oh my goodness. I forgot.
I can't wait. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I have general admission tickets, so I'm just going to wander around a little bit. Got my Turn 4 podcast chair. I'm going to set up somewhere.
I did see that
on one of the berms, and then probably going to walk around and just take in some sights. I'll post some things to the Instagram, of course, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun.
That's so good. Yeah. You're going to be down that way for a different event.
I am.
And so it's a mini try. Is that right?
It's a sprint try.
It's a sprint try. Okay. I don't know the difference, but
so yeah.
Which one did I see you do?
Sprint try.
It was a sprint. Okay. So I do know what it is.
Yep.
So you're doing that. And then you're
first
heading
open water swim of the season, and it's middle May in the Midwest. It's going to be cold.
Yeah. It's supposed to be warm this week, so that should warm up.
Should help.
Be a fairly good swim that you got to do as part of that. So you're going to do that, and you're going to the race. You're going to hang out.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have some great stories and send some good pics.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. So, what else you got? What are you looking forward to in EGP?
I'm looking forward for the month of May to really get kicked off. It's such a great month to be an IndyCar fan, and having it here with the GP to start is great. And then you roll right into the 500 festivities. It just here in the Midwest, the winters are so long. It's really the time that, hey, spring's here, and just to be back home again in Indiana. I just said that it's just a great feeling. So I'm looking forward to just having it come and be real. And I know it's already May 9th is the day we're recording this. And, so we're 9 days into this, and can't wait. That's going to be the big thing. And I want to see if Errol can continue what they did last week. So if they can continue the momentum, that'll be good to see for that team that sort of struggled to get out of the gate this year.
Yeah, that's the number 2 Chevy team. Without a doubt,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
That's all I got too, Dan. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you as well.
Your bike's back on the wall. I see that. I'm pointing.
All cleaned up.
It's all cleaned up.
Yep.
Very good. I know
All
last
ready to
Sunday
go.
it was not. Still in the back of the car. So you must have scrubbed it and got it clean.
I did.
Good.
So in the show notes, again, I'll post the link for the Homes for Our Troops charity that AJ Foyt is running with his longtime sponsor, ABC Supply. Also continue to engage with us on social media. Consider becoming a Patreon supporter. We set up a Patreon supporter page. You can go on and you can choose to support our little project here for as little as $1 a month if you want. Consider that. Engage with us on Twitter, Instagram, and be sure to follow us on Instagram. I'm going to be there next week at the Speedway.
I'll be watching
some pictures there. So with that, I'll say good night. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.